I'm Jeff Philbin, here with more ideas for dinner today. A tried and tested family recipe. Grouper alle Vongole. It's pasta, clams, and grouper. And we'll also be adding in our own chorizo, which we'll show you how to make from scratch. Joining me in the Dinner DeeAs kitchen is David Laser Benstock, a chef who's cooked in New York, Venice, and even for Wolfgang Puck. But for the past decade, he's been running his dream restaurant back in his hometown of St. Pete, Il Ritorno. My friend, it is so great to have you inside the Dinner DeeAs kitchen. This is a real treat. I've been looking forward to this one here because today he's bringing us a family recipe passed down through generations. Well, 2 generations. Yeah. It's a dish he makes with his son, Ethan. And Ethan is how old?
Ethan's 9 now.
9 years old, and he's in the kitchen with you. And how did this dish come to life?
You know, I'd almost say he passed it on to me. My wife was out of town one weekend, and we had to cook for everyone. We have 4 kids, and he really wanted to be inspired and make a dish of his own. So we sat down, we brainstormed on what he wanted to do. He really likes fish, clams, so we created this dish. And over time, we've just kind of like perfected it over and over, and now it's a staple in our house.
What do we need to do to get this dish started?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a little prep work first.
Okay.
So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make our chorizo.
Okay.
And this is a really simple recipe, something that you can easily make at home, and you don't have to buy 30 different spices to make it. So we're starting with our fresh ground pork, and we're adding smoked paprika, black pepper, salt, and garlic to it. And we're just gonna mix it really well, that way it's thoroughly incorporated throughout. And you know, a lot of flavor that this is gonna bring to the dish. It's gonna add to the sauce, the clams, everything. And while you're mixing that, we can talk about the clams a little bit that we're gonna use. So we take salted water, kind of mimicking the ocean, and we let them sit in there for about 45 minutes. While they're in there, you know, they're alive, so they're what we call purging. They're spitting out any dirt or sand that's inside of it, and it's being cleaned out with fresh salt water. Yeah.
All right, now is this mixed to your liking here?
That's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. So what we're gonna do is in the pan, to start this pasta, we're gonna have some nice olive oil. And whenever you're making pasta, go heavy on the olive oil, because that olive oil is gonna be used to glaze the pasta as it reduces. So a lot of people think it might be too much, but you can always go a little bit extra on the olive oil. So then we're gonna take that chorizo and we're gonna put it into the pan. We're gonna put the whole patty in there.
But and then break it apart?
Exactly, we're gonna break it up. That way, every bite you're getting this chorizo with it.
Okay.
With this dish and it being so simple and clean flavors, you don't want to caramelize the pork too much, or else it's going to give it too much of that roasted flavor. And we want it clean. We want the clams to really come through, the wine. You know, we don't want it to overpower the grouper that we're going to put on at the end.
Oh, perfect. Because for all the full details on how to make the chorizo and the whole of Benstock & Sons, the grouper alle Vongole, grab the recipes at dinnerdeas.com. Just get your phone, open the camera, and point it at the QR code, which we just put up in the corner of the screen, and a link to us will appear on your phone.
So now that you're almost getting that rendered out, we're going to add the shishitos now before it cooks all the way.
Now, shishito peppers, where can someone find shishito peppers?
So you can get shishito peppers at Whole Foods, Fresh Market, any specialty grocery store. They're really great flavor. So now we're gonna throw in a little bit of garlic, you know, Italian, you gotta have a little garlic in there. And that's just gonna help kind of round it out. Now we're gonna go through here, make sure all of our clams are alive. If you see one that's a little bit open, you just give it a tap. And if it closes up, you're good to go. A lot of times, you know, they're just playing, they're having fun. So now we're gonna take our clams, throw those in. All right, and then we're gonna throw a little white wine in there.
Oh, that last drink for all those clams to just say, all right, I'm taking the salt water out, I'm getting the good stuff now.
Exactly. So now we're just gonna let that steam. Now, while that's opening up, we'll grab our fresh pasta. Now, you don't have to use fresh pasta. I'm just super fancy.
You just come right out of the door.
You know me, man. I'm super fancy. So the fun thing about this dish is whatever your favorite pasta is, throw it in there.
I love that. Yep. I absolutely love that.
So before making pasta, you always want to season your water. All right, you're building flavors here. So you don't want something unseasoned going into your pasta. We're gonna take our So we're just gonna drop it in there. We're gonna let that cook for about 3 minutes.
Now these clams, I see a couple of them starting to open up right here.
Now the trick with clams exactly is now as soon as they're opening up, we want to take those out so they don't overcook.
Okay.
So I'll pass the tongs on to you, my friend.
Okay. And all we're going to do is just going to put them into this holding bowl, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So yeah, and that's the trick. You don't want to leave them in and keep boiling. You don't want to finish the whole dish with them. You want them out, and then we'll mix them back in at the end.
Okay. Well, when we come back, Chef David shares his tip for searing the perfect piece of grouper ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. If you're just joining us, we're cooking today with Chef David Laser Benstock. He's the owner and the executive chef for Il Ritorno in St. Pete, a homecoming after a culinary career all over the world. He's been sharing a family recipe. Literally, it's one he perfected with his son, Ethan, grouper alle Vongole, which is grouper with pasta and clams. Before the break, we made our own chorizo, combining ground pork, paprika, salt, garlic, and black pepper, sauteing it, then adding shishito peppers, garlic, white wine, and manila clams. And then we put our spaghetti on to cook, which looks like it might be ready.
Yeah, it's looking really good right now. So this is about done, and you want to like undercook it for about a minute, right? Because you want it, whenever you're making pasta, you want to finish it off in the sauce. You want it not just to coat the sauce, you don't want the sauce just to coat the pasta, you want it to absorb the flavor into there. So first thing we're gonna do is spread this around, we'll toss it together, and then we're gonna let that cook down together. We're gonna let that really get into that pasta.
If you want to make this for your dinner with your son, your dad, or just by yourself, then you get to eat it all just to you. Grab the recipe at dinnerdeas.com. Just scan the QR code for the quickest way to get there.
Great. Right. So now letting that come down. As that's finishing coming down, we're gonna take cilantro and parsley and we're gonna put them both in here. Finish it. Parsley. Cilantro.
You know what I love about this? You know, you think Italian, you're thinking basil when you're going to have a fresh herb, but it's like, no, let's kind of go with a little bit of the cilantro in there.
Exactly. Now we're going to get some fresh lime, which also, you know.
Totally like changes the whole piece around too.
Yeah.
Because like, you could do so much, but this is so right.
Absolutely.
It's going to come together. Like
you don't have to stick with tradition all the time.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. While that's going, we have our pan hot.
Okay.
All right. And we're going to do the grouper part of the alle Vongole. All right, again, you're going to start your pan. We're going to take a little bit of salt. Just really simply done. We're going to season it with just salt because we have so much peppers between the shishitos and the chorizo in the dish. And now the most important thing when searing a piece of fish, making sure your oil is slightly smoking. So right there is like perfect. So we're just going to throw it down, and as I say in the restaurant business, presentation side down. So that's the side that the skin wasn't on, that doesn't have the bloodline on it that we've cut out. So now we're just going to let that start searing. We want to get a light golden brown. We don't want it too intense of a sear. Like I said, we're keeping this dish really light. So we'll let that sear for about 1.5 to 2 minutes on that side. We'll flip it and do the same.
Now, if someone at home didn't have the access to get fresh grouper, could they use frozen?
Yeah, you could use frozen, or honestly, use your favorite fish. So if you like snapper, if you like mahi, you know, I would stay away from tuna or anything like that. But you know, a nice flaky white fish, it's perfect. Cod, you know, so many different options for this. My son just really loves grouper.
Yeah.
All right, so see we got a little bit of golden brown. We're gonna start flipping them as they're ready. There's the first one. There's the second one.
Now when did the clams go back in?
The clams is the last thing. Like we were saying earlier, we don't want to overcook them. So the only thing we're doing to finish these clams in there is we're literally going to put them in there for 20 seconds with the cover just to give it some heat because we've already cooked it.
Okay.
Now that these are flipped, right, we have the sear on the top side, it's searing on the bottom side. Now is the time we're going to throw this in the oven. And that's for about 2 to 3 minutes.
And that oven's going to be heated at what temperature?
400 degrees.
400 degrees.
Yep.
All right. Well, our grouper gets going. We're taking a break. When we come back, the Chef David shares a spring side to make this meal complete. Ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. Chef David Laser Benstock is with us today to make a meal not from the menu at his St. Pete restaurant Il Ritorno, though that would be awesome. He's sharing something from his home kitchen, a dish he makes with his son Ethan. And this ain't no chicken nuggets and french fries here. We're making grouper alle Vongole. Grouper served with pasta and clams and just a little homemade chorizo sausage in there too. Before the break, we cooked and drained our pasta, added it back to the dish along with parsley, cilantro, and lime juice. Then we got to the grouper, seasoning and searing it, then letting it finish up in the oven where it's nearly done, which gives us time to squeeze out a nice little springtime side dish over here.
Absolutely.
Right.
So this is one of my favorite things to do, and it's a play on a bruschetta, but the great thing about this is you can use any kind of vegetables that are in season right now. So in front of us, we have fresh garbanzo beans, fava beans, and morel mushrooms, all right? So this is about as seasonal as it gets, and my favorite spring ingredients.
Oh, dude, but you're bringing morel mushrooms.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
They're beautiful. They're incredible. But if you didn't have the opportunity to find morel mushrooms, what can you use?
Yeah, so you go to the store, you can get oyster mushrooms, even button mushrooms or portobellos. Cool. You can use anything. You can use different vegetables. You can use broccoli. You can. I mean, this dish is like whatever your favorite vegetables are.
And just play in the season.
Use them, yep. So we've got this all cooked up with a little bit of garlic. Now, of course, we're gonna get fancy again. This is our mushroom stock. So we've taken button mushrooms. We've crushed them up with our hands. We put them in a pot with a little bit of salt, a little garlic, a little thyme, covered it on low heat, and it pulls out all that natural flavor and juice from the mushrooms. So we don't add water. That's just the moisture from the mushrooms being pulled out.
Now, if someone at home wanted to take a vegetable stock and then jazz it up a little bit and do that and to infuse some of that mushroom so it gives a little bit more flavor, they can do that too?
Yeah, totally.
Cool.
Totally. So while that's going, we're going to let that reduce. That way that mushroom flavor really penetrates into those vegetables. And we have our pasta right here, spaghetti with our chorizo, our shishitos, and this is our magic ingredient. This is a little bit of the pasta water that we saved, and that's really good because it'll help kind of bring the acid, the fat, everything kind of together to create a nice emulsified sauce with your pasta. So it's really important. It's actually, I've told people it's my favorite ingredient is the pasta water because it really helps create your sauce.
Never throw it away, folks.
Yeah.
Never throw it away. It comes in handy when you need it.
Absolutely. So while this is all finishing up, we have our ciabatta bread right here. We're just going to do a little bit of olive oil on it, a little bit of salt, and we're going to throw that on the grill. So really hot grill. If you have a grill at home, you can use that, or you can use a pan like this. And you just want to get a nice char on it. You want to get some nice marks on it and for it to toast up.
To grab the recipe for the bruschetta and the grouper and clam pasta, head to dinnerdeas.com or just scan the QR code in the corner of the screen to find us.
Yeah. So, well, you see we got some grill marks already on it. We're just going to turn it. Kind of gives it a little crosshatch. You don't want too much of that char in one spot, so it flips it so it starts like a new part of the bread to get some char instead of it getting like a kind of a bitter flavor that you
And then you can have like an even bite.
Exactly. We're going to take that off. All right, so now we got the base. All right, we're going to take our whipped ricotta. So this is ricotta, olive oil, mint, and lemon zest.
Love it.
Right? And we're just going to put it on one piece of bread and smear it on. Right? Think of like a New York bagel, but about the 10th the amount.
Okay. So it's got to have a nice hefty, nice smear here.
Right? And then we got our vegetables right here that have reduced down. You can smell that. It's insane.
Oh, it's incredible, dude. It's absolutely incredible. Like, and I am literally in awe.
So we're just gonna put that on top.
Okay.
Right here. Start our plate up. Put that down. We have, this is ricotta salata. It's like an aged ricotta. So they just press in, they let it sit. It's not aged for a long period of time.
And with the aging process, does it become like a firmer cheese? So that way then you can actually...
Exactly.
Okay.
So you see we got that
Hard to find? Is this an easy cheese?
No, you can get it at the grocery store.
Okay.
Yep. All right, keep that going. We don't want to burn the pasta. Then another amazing ingredient. This is wild forage pickled ramps from the Pacific Northwest. These are incredible. These are my favorite ingredient of all time. Not something you can find in the store, but if you want to replicate something else, I would pickled red onions or pickled scallions, something like that. So this We're just gonna plate over the top.
So really just to bring a nice little burst of some acidity behind it.
This is gonna make it beautiful.
Okay.
All right, so boom, we got that ready to go. And now we're gonna finish up our pasta. So we got our clams, and these things are already cooked. We just want these things to get hot again. So thank you for doing that, Jeff. We're just gonna throw those in.
Got it. You got it.
I'm gonna put the lid on that, and we're just gonna let that sit there for like 15, 20 seconds, and that's just bringing heat back to the clams, but not cooking it more. All right, so we're just gonna give it a little second.
Is the grouper ready?
The grouper is ready. Perfect timing.
Nice.
Look at that. Ready to go.
Look at that.
It's like perfect.
Look at that golden brown right there. That's a beauty right
And
there.
now we're good to go on this. All right. So we're gonna take our pasta. We're just gonna give it a nice twirl. My son's really a stickler on presentation, so I hope this is gonna.
Yeah, this is that moment, Ethan.
Yep.
Your dad's doing well right now. I want to find out too.
All right, so we have our clams. We want to get some of the sausage and some of that shishitos on there, so we get all the flavors in there.
Okay.
And now take our grouper.
Oh.
And that's just gonna sit right up top.
Look at that. That looks gorgeous.
One last thing, I like a nice fruity Spanish olive oil.
Okay.
And we're just gonna go over the top with that.
Oh, yeah, that's just that finishing touch right there like that. That's that finishing touch to that. It's an Instagram-worthy dish, and if you make it, post a photo on Instagram and tag us. We're at Dinner DeeAs. And if you follow us, you'll be the first to see what we have coming up on the show. That's what Jasmine did. She watches us in Brandon with her daughter, Kaylee. Hi, Kaylee. And left a comment after our friend Chef Lana from Joelle's Deli shared a message from her heart. If you missed it, catch it on dinnerdeas.com. Jasmine said, "Watching you tear up at the end of this episode confirms you are right where you are supposed to be." Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks, Kaylee. It's a joy to do what we're doing right here and to be able to celebrate food, family. I mean, Ethan's doing it. Kaylee, you're doing it. Holden's doing it. We're all doing it together. And let's have some more fun in the kitchen because when we come back, it's taste test time with Chef David ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. Today we've been cooking with Chef David Laser Benstock from Il Ritorno in St. Pete, making grouper alle Vongole. Grouper served with pasta, clams, in this fresh side of a spring bruschetta. And full disclosure here, folks, strictly speaking, this is another chef's recipe who we should also credit. Ethan Benstock, David's son, helped originate this dish. And let's hope we've done it some justice here.
Yeah, I hope he's gonna like what we put on our
I mean,
plates.
with that knife right there, yeah, man, I'm going with it too, but I might be in trouble. Your dad might be in trouble too. So, all right. How does Ethan like to go into it first? Does he like to go grouper first, the manila clam first, the pasta?
I think Ethan would go with the bruschetta first.
Okay.
He'd probably start with the cold and move to the hot.
Okay. My man right there.
Yeah, he's pretty sophisticated with his eating.
All right. Spring has arrived.
That's everything you'd expect out of spring right there. Screams it.
Walk us through these flavors.
Yeah, so you're getting the lemon with the ricotta, nice little creaminess, a little char in the bread. The fava beans, the mushrooms add a nice earthiness to this with a nice crunch. And then it's going to have even more mushroom flavor with that reduction, but the topper is the pickled ramps. I mean, the pickled ramps make it bright. They are what brings all these ingredients to life.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Out of this world, fantastic. I could almost just keep going with that one. But Ethan, you know, he helped do this one. So, all right, we got to go into this now.
Yeah.
So how does he go for it?
So he would break up the grouper.
Yep.
He likes to break it up into little pieces so he can have it with every bite. And then he twirls away. He usually eats the clams separately.
Okay.
To each their own.
How fun is it to be able to have him in the kitchen with you?
It's a blast. It's like, as a chef dad, it's what you always want. you know, you want your kids to cook with you and have fun and be able to teach them what you love so much and what you do every day of your life. So, I mean, it's amazing. I have 4 kids. All of them I cook with. Not my 1-year-old daughter, she's a little too young, but I cook with them all. They learn about flavors, and it's just great bonding with us. You know, of all the things we do, that's probably the best bonding experience with them.
I absolutely love it because it shows in every bit, because the secret ingredient to all of this, my friend, it's love.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a father and son coming together with a dish that is magnificent. There is such a beauty in this. And the flavors, the juxtapositions of what you are thinking you're gonna have with spaghetti, right?
Yeah.
But you're not.
Yeah.
There's acid and there's just a brightness behind it.
It almost has like a little Spanish influence.
Because of the chorizo right there and all that little bit of smokiness with the paprika, you're bringing in some of the seafood. Man, it's just a joy. This is absolutely a joy. I wish I could give you the credit for it there on that one, but Ethan, literally my friend, killer job, dude. Absolutely killer job, dude. Thanks again to Chef David Laser and Ethan Benstock. A link to Il Ritorno and their recipe are at dinnerdeas.com. I'm Jeff Philbin. Thanks for watching and see you next time with more Dinner Deas. Out of this world fantastic, dude.
Thanks, man.